Hello, my dear friend. So, today we are going to learn one of the most important topics of quantitative aptitude, that is ratio. So, I'm going to introduce you to a wonderful concept called ratio, and thereafter we'll also learn proportion. Ratio is the building block of most of the questions that come in quantitative aptitude. So we need to learn it very, very clearly, deeply, and we should be able to convert most of the questions into ratio questions. Ratio is nothing but you will understand. Ratio is nothing but how we look at it. The definition says that it's the simplest way to compare two values. We use a ratio we use a ratio only for comparing two or more values. It can be 3 or 4 or 5. So any two values if you want to compare, and then if it is the numbers are very clumsy, you will not be able to really get a proper idea. So therefore a concept has been invented which is called as ratio. A ratio we have already discussed when we were discussing about THCM. Okay, but we'll now try to see it in a different way so that whenever we say ratio, the concept is clear. Okay, technical details will be coming next, but now first try to understand what I given here is, say for example you go to a school and these are the students that are there who are sitting on the benches. Now if you see here, these are maybe boys or these may be girls, I do not know, whatever, but there are, how many are there? Say here 1 2 3 4 5 rows of benches are there. 5 rows of benches are there, and there are how many columns? 1 2 3 4. In this side of left side of the class, say for example in each bench, in each row there are 4 students are sitting. These will call them as boys. Okay, and in the same row, the rows are same, the benches are same, but there is a aisle here, in between there is some space, and on the other side girls are sitting. Now girls are sitting in one bench, 3 girls are sitting in one bench. There are 3 girls are sitting in the same number of rows. So when I see it from above, say for example I put a drone or just go above all the students, and then I am looking from the roof, then how do they look? They will look like this. So these are total number of students, isn't it? These are total number of students. So this will go, we are going to uh, later connect when we are solving the ratio problem. So these are total number of students when we see from above. If I go to their level and try to say it, you can see that we will be able to see only the front benchers. We will be able to see only the front benchers, their faces. Here we are sitting, looking at the heads. So these are the hair, if you want to understand. Okay, and then these are the faces. If we see from horizontal view, where we are exactly eye to eye and I want to see them, then how many will look? There will be only 4 boys will look. I can see only 4 boys, and I'll be able to see only 3 girls. That is because I'll be able to see only the first benchers, and whoever is behind them will not be visible there because they will be hiding. They will be at the same place, so I will not be able to see them. If you want to say this is the ratio is simplest way of looking. So when I see from horizontal, I'll be able to say that for every 4 boys there are 3 girls. Now try to understand. This is the real definition. For every 4 boys, there are 3 girls in the class. Are you able to understand? So we do not know exactly how many number are there. If I see from horizontal view, I will be only able to say that for every 4 boys there are 3 girls, or for every 3 girls there are 4 boys. So then this is called the ratio. If you ask me what is the ratio of boys to girls in this class, then I can say that 4 is to 3, which is not a real number. This is called abstract value. This is a abstract value because this is not real value. This is not actual value. What is actual value? Actual value is this. Okay, so if I see this, I'm just going to remove this so that we'll be able to see it in a different way. Okay, so if you see this, how many are there? Total number of boys, if I want to count, I'll be able to say these are 4. 4 into how much? 4 into 5 rows. And this is your HCF, my dear friend. This is your HCF. Okay, we are going to call it as 1 ratio value. Later I'll tell you what is 1 ratio value. Once you understand this concept, this way you will be able to solve any question very easily. So there the number of boys is 4 into 5. 4 into 5, that is 20. So if you ask me in this school, what is the actual value of students? So actual value of students, boys is equal to 20, and that of girls is again 3 into 5. We are, because the same number of rows are there. Because there are same number of rows, we are going to multiply by 3 into 5, which is equal to 15. So if somebody asks me what is the total number of students in this class, then I can say 20 plus 15, 35 total. Or I can say in another way as well, total is 35. Or I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in one row total, because I want total, so in one row there are 7 students. So total number of, this is called the total or sum of ratios. This is the sum of ratios. All these concepts please try to understand. I'll tell you how where to write the notes and everything. But these are concepts I want to just instill in you so that you will be able to solve the questions very easily. So this is sum of ratios. Okay, sum of ratios is how much now? 7. Sum of ratios is 7. But if I want total, the sum of actual value will be 7 into 5, which is equal to 35. I think you are able to understand. This is the ratio. The 1 to 1 row value is the ratio. Or if you see from the horizontal, that is the ratio. The total number of students in the class is the actual value. So we will start calling it as actual value. That is the actual. This is abstract, right? This is ratio value is abstract. This we are going to call it as ratio value now onwards. These are ratio value. Boys ratio value is 4, whereas boys actual value is 20. Try to concentrate and see what I am saying. The ratio value of the boys in this particular case is 4, whereas the actual value of boys is 20. The ratio value of girls is 3 and the actual value of girls is 15. The sum of ratio values is 7, whereas the sum of actual values is 35. One more concept. The difference between the ratio values is 1. The difference between these two. Are you getting my point? The difference between these two, the questions may come on that as well. The difference between the ratio values is 1. The difference between actual values is what? So we have to see a ratio value into HCF or 1 ratio value, you will get 5. So the difference between boys and girls is 5. So once I understand the ratio and the number with which I have to multiply in this case or divide in the case we are converting actual value to ratio value, then it is the HCF or the 1 ratio value. So 1 ratio is equal to 5 here. So I can do whatever I want. If I know the 1 ratio value, which is the HCF by which I have to divide. So that is what we are going to see next. The HCF value or the ratio value, once I understand, I'll be able to solve most of the questions. So that is what we are having. So one goal in solving the questions, one goal we have to find this 1 ratio value. We have to find what? 1 ratio value. If I get 1 ratio value, which is the HCF of those two numbers, you will be able to solve the question. Okay. So let us go to the next ratio technicals. So some technical details which will not be asked in your examination, but just to understand. So in a ratio is all normally written in this form, A is to B, and it is called as is to. Is whatever colon is there, this will say it as A is to B. A is to B. So this is how we say it. Okay, and A, the first one is called antecedent. It is called as antecedent, and the second ratio is called as consequent. The second ratio is called as consequent. So A and B are in the ratio of whatever, I do not know. So they are in the ratio. So A is to B is what? That is the ratio. Those are called antecedent and consequent. So ratio, I said it is in the ratio A is to B. And inverse of ratio. What is inverse of ratio? Inverse of ratio is whatever is the ratio, that will be means written in the form A is to B. The inverse of that ratio is 1 upon A is to 1 upon B. This is the inverse ratio. Okay. Then there are several types of ratios. One of them I am going to give you as an example, that is called duplicate ratio. Duplicate ratio is the power. Okay. So duplicate ratio is, if the ratio is A is to B, then the duplicate ratio will be A square is to B square. Same way we'll just try to understand triplicate is also there, which will not be asked. So I'm just only triplicate ratio is A cube to B cube is to B cube. And then there is duplicate. Sub duplicate means what? It is actually root of A is to root of B. Again sub triplicate will be, and so on. You can go on writing cube root of A is to cube root of B. So these are the mainly which are normally used, or they are said, but we are not going to use these concepts. These are only technical. So technical details, like you want to use the computer, you need not have to know the technicalities. What is the RAM, not required. Okay, if you want to install something or if you want to do something, no, you don't need those details. But if you are only using, like creating a Word document or Excel, or no, you need to only know where to put what. Okay, that is software part. Likewise, this is hardware part, which is not actually required for us, but we need the software. We need to know the shortcut very clearly, and you should be able to use them easily. Okay, now we are going to understand the relationship between fraction and a ratio. Say for example, we take this profit shares of A and B. These are two verticals. Verticals means the same departments. Say for example, A is selling some food items, and B is selling maybe consumables. Okay, consumables. Okay. So if there are two verticals in a company and these are the profit share, the total profit is so much, and A will contribute this much profit and B will contribute this much profit. Now, if I want the ratio of A and B, okay, ratio of A and B, okay, fractional value we will try to understand first. What is the fractional value here? Now, when we are talking about ratio, we need to understand the fractional value as well. So A vertically is contributing how much part of the total profit. That is your fraction. How much fraction is it contributing? So the fractional value of A is 1/4. Whatever is the total, you can see in the picture, because fraction we have understood as a circle or a pizza. So if this is pizza, 1/4 of pizza is contributed by vertical A, and 3/4 is contributed by B. So 3/4 of, so if you ask me what is the fractional value of A or B, I say it is 1/4 or 3/4. Whereas the ratio value of A is to B. Now we are comparing. See, this fractional value, again, it's a kind of comparison of what we know. Fraction is what? The part we choose to the total number of parts. So total profit is four parts, out of which one part is contributed by A. So if you ask me actual values, again fraction is, again we are going to simplify it. So actual value is what? 30 out of 120 is contributed by A vertical, whereas 90 out of 120 has been contributed by B vertical. If I want to compare now, if I want to compare between A and B, I'll compare like this. The ratio value of A is to B is 1 is to 3. How do I find this one? How do I find this one? So how do I find? I'll find that one fourth is A and 3/4 is B. So I can do this like this. From fractions I can find out the ratios if they belong to the same thing, same company, same schools, same type of produce, sales, revenue, whatever it is. Okay, then we can do like this. By one fourth of that is contributed by A, if 3/4 is contributed. So the comparison is for every one rupee contributed by A, B contributes 3 rupees. For every 1 rupee profit given by A, there is a profit of 3 rupees by B. That is what we need to understand ratio value. Okay. So the actual values are 30 lakhs. Ratio value, ratio value is 1 is to 3, whereas actual value is what? 30 lakh and 90 lakh. So when if you ask me what is the one ratio value, I'll tell you that this is 1 ratio is equal to 30 lakhs. This you should be able to. Now there is one more thing we need to understand is ratio for solving several of the questions. We will also write it as a fraction. How do I write it as a fraction? So I do not write it as a fraction. I only, okay, so it is 1 by B. I can write this one ratio as 1 by A by B as well. So this is 1 upon 3. Okay, this is a ratio converted into fraction. This is only ratio. These are not the part of each other. So it is not a fraction, but we can write it for solving. For every A, there is 3. For every A, there is 3 of B. Okay. So let us now go into the next level where we are going to understand whatever I was telling you, actual value and ratio value and so on and so forth. So if I am looking from above, I said that is your actual value. And if I am looking from uh, horizontally, then it is ratio value. So actual value is looking from above. This is total. Means I can see everything. Okay, actual value is total. So everybody is visible to me. But ratio value is, it is the simplest form comparison in the simplest form. It is simplified to where you will not be able to see. Therefore when we want to find out a actual ratio value from actual value, this is what we are going to see now. When we want to find out the ratio value from actual value, how do we do it? So say for example, we'll take this example of a box contains 300 mangoes. There are two boxes here. Okay, there are two boxes, and in these two boxes there are mangoes, right? So this is A box, okay, and this is B box, and this contains 300 mangoes and this contains 200 mangoes. These are the actual values. So if I ask what is the comparison, I will say there are 300 mangoes in this box and there are 200 mangoes in this box. Instead of saying that, I can say in the ratio. How do I find the ratio from the actual value? When I know the actual value, how do I find out the ratio? I will divide the actual value by HCF. I will divide the actual value by HCF. Any number, if you want to find out the ratio value, then we are going to divide it by HCF. When we divide the numbers by HCF, HCF is the common factor, highest common factor that can divide both 300 and 200, which is in this case 100. So HCF is 100. So if I divide it by 100, this I divide by 100, this I divide by 100, I will find the ratio as 3:2, right? I'll find the ratio as 3:2. So this is the ratio value of A is to B. The ratio value of A is to B. How do I do? I just divide the numbers by its HCF. Or if you do not know the HCF, instead of finding HCF, you can go on dividing. Like we find the HCF, you can go on dividing them by numbers, whatever you know, or you can directly find out the HCF, because finding HCF is easy. Now you find the difference is 100, so 100 can divide 300 as well as 200, so 100 is your HCF. Instead of starting from 2 and 4 and all those things, you can do it directly. Okay, so let us go to the next. Okay, so this is the second one, where the question is asked to find out the actual value from ratio value. They will be giving you ratio value. Whenever these kind of, if you want to find out A value or B value or sum or the difference, you need to have two information. One is the ratio value. They have to give what is A is to B or A is to B to C or whatever B is to C. They have to give the value of this. They have to give the ratio value, and then they have to give any one of the below, actual value, that is A value or B value. If say for example there is A is to B is 3 is to 5, and they give me that A value is say for example 45. Okay, this is a school, A school and B school, and in A school there are 45 students. Tell me how many students are there in B school. Then what I'll do? Okay, that we are going to see next. So this is one thing that we want. Before we know it, we want the ratio value and either A value or B. Okay, and then they can give the sum. Say for example, this is the same. There is another factory called A factory and B factory, and they are in the ratio 4 is to 7. Now the total number of employees, so the number of employees is 4 is to 7, and the total number of employees is say for example 220 here. Total number of A and B both. Okay, the total number of employees in A and B both are 220. So what is, how many people are working in A? That can be asked, or they can give the difference between A and B. They can give the ratio whatever they want, 13 is to 11, and then they can give the difference. The difference between A and B is say for example 50. Okay, how do I find? These are the three. One of them is required. Okay, so this is the basics of finding the ratio. So when we get this one, we should be able to find the actual value from ratio value with this simple concept. It's not a formula, it's the concept. What I'll get, see there are two parts in it. There is this first part given actual value to, okay, there is some problem with the pen. Okay, so given actual value by ratio value. So we'll go and do this one. Okay, so first one, what they have given, A value is 45. So what I'll do, given actual value is 45, right? Okay, see here, given actual value is 45. What is its corresponding ratio value? We need what? Corresponding. This is A, so I am going to divide it by A ratio value, not B ratio value or sum or whatever. I am going to divide it by A ratio value, so 3. So what I'll get is 15. This is called 1 ratio value. This is the HCF with which we have to do. Whenever you divide the actual value by the corresponding ratio value, what value you get is 1 ratio value or the HCF by which you have to multiply or divide, whatever be the case, to get the actual value. So this is what we need to do. What we need to do? We have to divide given actual value with its corresponding ratio value. You have to divide the, I am going to repeat it several times so that it gets into your head all the time. Okay, so given actual value by ratio, corresponding ratio value will get you what? This will get you 1 ratio value. Now whatever they ask, once you get the 1 ratio value, this is the most important point in this whole lecture on ratio. you need to find out one ratio. Once you find out one ratio value, whatever they ask, you have to multiply. Say for example, in the previous case, in the previous case, we have 15 as the one ratio value. Now they ask B, I'll multiply by 5 and I'll get what? 15 5 is 75. There are 75 students or whatever in the B school. Okay, and if they ask the total, then what I'll do? 15 into, I'll get the total here, 3 plus 5 8, 15 8 whatever, 120. That is the sum of all the students, total number of students. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? So if they ask whatever, you are going to multiply. This is the required ratio value. This is the required ratio value. Please note down this properly, the previous slide and this slide. This slide is very very important. Please note down everything clearly. I may be making a mess, but you have to write down everything legibly, and everything should be available whatever point of time, because this is the main building block of all of your quantitative aptitude. You will get more than 75% of the questions from this chapter alone. How? If you do not know, I am going to tell you. Whenever the chapters come, every chapter is based on, almost every chapter is based on ratio values. Okay, next we are going to further see this one. Okay, so now here you see what is given here. What is actual value given? Actual value given is sum. So what I am going to do? I am going to divide this sum by the ratio sum corresponding. I said corresponding ratio value. Divide actual value by corresponding ratio value. So corresponding ratio value is 4 plus 7 is 11. So you get what? One ratio value. Sorry, not into equal to. I'll get one ratio value as 20. Now you can multiply to find out. If you want to find out the difference, you will multiply by 3. This is the difference. If you want to find out the A ratio value, multiply by 4. If you want to find out B value, then multiply by 7. If you want to find out some anyways is given here. Right, now next, in this case they are given what? They are given what? Difference. If they are given difference, then we are going to divide it by ratio difference. 50. You might have learnt this with using the x. 3 into x and 5 into x and 4x and 7x and 13x. So you have to see if the A is 13x and B is 11x, then the difference will be what? 13x minus 11x, which is equal to 2x. 2x is equal to 50, therefore x is equal to 50 by 2. This is how you might have learnt. Okay, fine, that is right. That is right, but it is lengthy and you did not have to. You have to be very very logical. Why we are doing all these x and y and all these things? Because we want to solve this question as per the given values. So what I'm going to do, if you were asked this question in your 10th or whatever examination, you would have done like this. You would have said that if the ratio is 13 is to 11, then the A actual value is 13 is to x, 13 into x, and B there are 11x number of people, so the difference they have given, so 13x. All this is not required. What we are going to do, if they are given the difference, they are given the difference as 50. So what I'll do, I'll see the difference between the ratios. What is that ratio difference? 2. I'll divide it by 2. 50 divided by 2. You will get 25. 25 is what? Your HCF, or it is 1 ratio value. That is 1 ratio value. So once I do this, you can find out anything. Now it is over. 25 you get the HCF. They let them ask the sum. Sum is what? 25 25 into 13 plus 11 is 24. 25 into 24. How to do this? How to do this is 24 square plus 24. You do, you will get the answer. Okay, I am not going to spend so much of time here. This is what you are going to do. Is that clear? I think this should be clear to you, and we are going to solve some questions now. So this you need to note down. This is one ratio value and this is your answer, whatever you will get the answer. Whatever they ask, you will get the answer when you do this. Okay. Given actual value divided by corresponding ratio value into required ratio value. So I can write it as actual value divided by ratio value into required ratio value. You will get the answer. You will get the answer. Is that clear? Okay. So before we finish this session, we are going to do some basic questions so that whatever we have learned till now, you will be able to apply them. Okay. So the first question in front of you is there are 2,304 workers in company A and 2,816 in company B. What is the ratio of workers in company A to that of B? So here, what is this question? Actual value is given. You need to find out. Actual value is given. You need to find out what ratio value. This is we do not know. That is what they are asking. What is the ratio of these two? So how do I do it normally? 2304 is to first I'll write it company A and company B. There are how many in company A? 2,304 workers, and in company B there are 2,816 workers. So what I see first is it is divisible by 4. Then do you see that it is divisible by 3? Not possible. If it is not divisible by 3, then it is not. So we'll start with 4. You can find out because there is lot of difference. How much? 512 is the difference. So again finding the fractions, factors of 512 and then finding it is very difficult. So what I am going to do is we can directly go into dividing. Okay, so we'll divide it by 4. Okay, we'll divide it by 4. So 4, if I divide 5 is 30 is 576 and this is 704. Okay, so if I had given you the options, you would have done it faster, but I want you to learn. I want you to do this one so that you will be able to do it yourself. Okay, you should be able to do it yourself. So I'm going to give you the directly answer. Please try doing it. Okay, try doing it. So again, if I divide it by 4, I will get 144, 1 4 the 44, and then 704 is 4 the 4 and 7 is 76. Okay. Next, what will come? Again, can I divide it by 4? I can see I can divide it by even 12. Now I can see that it is divisible by 12 as well. No, it's not divisible by 12 because this is 56. So 4, 9, I think 9. 7 7 40 not possible, so again we'll go for 4 4. It should be divisible, I think. 4 3 are 12, 4 6 are 24, 4 4 the 16, 4 4 the 16. So now again it is divisible by 4. Okay, so 4 9 are 36 and 4 11 are, so this is your ratio. 9 is to 11 is your ratio. This is not necessary for us, we just divided it and found out. Okay, so this is how you will find out. You go on dividing till you get the co-prime numbers which we discussed when we were doing. So HCF, if you find, you will done. So you need not have to know this one now. In this case, you have to only find out 9 is to 11. That is the ratio of A is to B. Now one more question. A company makes a profit of 18.20 lakhs and B company makes a profit of 20.80 lakhs. What is the ratio of profits of? Again, same thing, they have given you the actual value 12.80. Can I write it as 1280? How does it matter? Because we are going to, now we are going into a little bit depth. Try to understand. If I write the dot or not, it doesn't matter to me in this case. Not 1280, my dear friend, it is 1820. So this is one of the mistakes I also do and many of the students also do. We will interchange the numbers, right? We will interchange the numbers. Now what I am going to do, I have to find out the ratio. So again I am going to do it not like that elaborately. Now try to understand 182. 182, it is divisible by 2. Is it divisible by 4? It's not divisible by 4, so we are going to do it by 2. So 2 if I divide, so what I'll get is 9 and 1, and this is 2 tens and 4. Okay, is it possible that 91? I think 13 should be divisible, right? It should be 13. So 13 can divide this number. 13, how much? 13 sevens are, and this is 13 eights. Okay, so we get what? We get 7 is to 8. 7 is to 8 is the ratio of this. These are two examples where we are using the first one. Take the numbers and then what you have to do? You have to divide it by HCF, or you go on dividing by the numbers which can divide both the numbers. When it stops, it's your ratio. Okay, understood? Now the third question, in an entrance test, the ratio of applicants to successful students was 17 is to 11. If there were 1462 applicants for the test, how many were successful? Now try to understand this. What it is saying, it is giving you one, the ratio values. What are the ratio values? Applicants to successfuls. Okay, applicants to successful. What are the ratio value? 17 is to 11. Now they have to give the second value, because we need to find out actual value, right? We have to find out how many were successful. So we need to find out some actual value from the given ratio value. Only ratio value will not get me anywhere, my dear friends. If you get only the ratio values, you will not be able to find out actual value. You need some actual value. This you keep it in your mind. There will be some questions where they will only give you ratio values, ratio value, ratio values. You will not be able to find out actual value. In this case, you will not be able to find the actual value unless and until they give the second part, which we discuss, either the sum or the difference or one of the values. So what is given here? If there were 1462 applicants, so actual value of applicants is given 1462. So we should be able to divide it by 17. If I divide it by 17 and multiply by, because they are asking successful, so this is actual value which is given here. So whatever actual value is given, I'm going to divide it by the ratio value, corresponding ratio value. So now if you divide, you will get what? Divide it by 17. So when we divide it by 17, 17 nines will be 153. So this should be 8. 17 into 8. 17 into 8 is how much? 136. And then 102 will remain. So 102 is how much? 6. So therefore it will be what? 86. This is what? Now again I am going to repeat, this is one ratio value. This is one ratio value, or the number with which we have to divide both the numbers, which is called as HCF as well. So this is the HCF. Now they are asking what? They are asking successful people. So 86 into 11. So 86 into 11 will be how much? So 946 will be the answer. 946 will be the answer. Let us go to the next question. So this previous question was where A value is given and we need to find out P value. Now we'll go to this question where there will be something else is there. In an exhibition, the ratio of female visitors to male visitors was 16 is to 19. If the female visitors were 150 less than male visitors. If the female visitors, so what is given here? Okay, just ponder over here this information. I'll come back and tell you. Then how many people visited the exhibition? So what we need to find out? So we'll write down like we used to write down in our schools. Given. What is given? The ratio of male and female visitors is given. So how much is that? It is 16 is to 19. Now what else is given? This is one thing. Second, actual value is given. Actual value of what is given? Now less or more means what? Less or more means what? Less or more means it is the difference. So they have given what? They have given us the difference. So if they give the difference, what we are going to do? We are going to find out the difference in the ratio values. So they have given difference. This is what we need to find out. What they have given, which actual value they have given. Is it A value? Is it B value? Is it difference? Is it sum? In this case, it is difference. So what I am going to do? I am going to divide it with the difference between these two values to get my one ratio value. So divide it by 3. The difference between these two is 3. So how much it is? 3 5s are 15. So 50 is one ratio value. 1 RV. 1 RV. We all are 1. This is what we can remember, 1 RV. So 50 is 1 RV. So therefore, what they are asking, how many people? They are asking what? How many people? So we have to find out what? We have to find out total number. Total number of visitors. Total means sum. So if I want to find out sum, what I'll do? I'll take this 1 RV, the ratio 1 ratio value, into total. Total is how much? 16 plus 19. How much it will be? 16 plus 19 will be 35. 50 into 35 is as good as 35 into 5. 35 into 5 is 175. Half it and put a 0. Right? So 1750 is your answer. Right? 1715 is your answer. Right? So this is the number of people who have visited the exhibition. Are you getting now? We divided, this is the most important part, we divided actual value, which was the difference, by the ratio value and find out 1 RV, that is 1 ratio value, and then we multiplied with whatever they asked. They asked sum, we'll multiply with the ratio sum. Ratio sum is 35. This is what? Ratio sum. RS means ratio sum. Previous they had given the difference, we divided it with the difference in ratio value. Same way. Okay, next one more question. Okay, this will give you an idea about one more aspect or one more feature or one more type of question which may be asked. Okay, if 30% of a number, if 30% of a number is equal to 4/5 of another number, what is the ratio of first number to the second number? Now we are going to learn something new, interesting. Okay, we are not at learned percentage, but you know a little bit of percentage. What is a percentage? Percentage is for every 100. Like in ratio, for every A there are so many B, that is fine. But here for every 100. So therefore 30%, 30% I can write as 30 by 100. Yes or no? Isn't it equal to 30%? 30% is written as 30 by 100. This much I know you can understand. So now what there is, 30% of a number is equal to 4/5. This is again fraction. See, try to understand. This is a fraction of another number. Okay, now we have to take help of maybe x and y. So this a number I'll take it as x, and this another number I'll take it as y. Okay, so from a, whatever the first number, I'm going to take it as x. So 30% of x, 30 by 100 into x is equal to 4 by 5. Half is always multiplication into y. Okay, so what is the ratio of one of them? What is the ratio of x and y? So x by y. Can I write x is 2 as x by y? Yes or no? We can write. We have seen. So x by y. So if I take this one, no, you know the LHS and RHS. I suppose if I want to take this y this side, it will become divided by. So then it will look like, why I am taking it? Because I want the ratio. Ratio can be written in this, and we will be able to solve. This is what I was telling. We are going to write the ratios. Whenever we are finding the ratios like this, we can write it by x by y. So x, y I am going to take it this side. So this will look like what? 30 upon 100 into x by y is equal to 4 by 5. but this is 30%, so I have to send this one as well that side. Before I send this one as well that side, I am going to remove these zeros. Can I remove these zeros? I am anyways dividing by 10. Both the sides, numerator and denominator, I am dividing by 10. Therefore, it will become 3 by 10. So now x upon y. So from here this comes, and from here this is what is going to come. 4. So you know, from left hand side to right hand side, it will go, division will become multiplication, multiplication will become division. So this will become 4 into 10 upon 5 into 3. See, this numerator will become denominator, denominator will become numerator, which will be what? 40 upon 15, which is equal to 5. I can divide 5 8s are 5 3s are. So the ratio of x is to y is what, my dear friend? It is 8 is to 3. Did you understand? So this is how you should solve this question. This is very elaborate and lengthy, okay, because we are into basic questions. We are trying to understand. I am doing it slowly and step by step and with explanations. This is just like a 2 to 3 second question, my dear friend. It should be what you should be able to solve it by what? Mm, 3 upon 10 into x is equal to 4 upon 5 y. Therefore it should be what? 4 into 10 40. So 40 upon 15, which is equal to 8 upon 3. That is the time it should take. Okay, so next. Okay, this is again, we are going to understand one more concept here. Okay, if the value of x they are asking, the value of x they are asking, this is also based on ratio, because it is given in the form of ratio. Now try to understand. 1 upon 3, 1 upon 3 is to 1 upon x is equal to 1 upon x is to 1 upon 12. Okay, so now how do I solve it? Again, what I am going to do, this I am going to consider as divided by. Okay, I am going to consider it as divided by. Now if I consider it as divided by, how can I write it? You know, we have understood fraction. So if it is divided, then I can write it as x upon 1. Okay, which is equal to, this implies I'll write here, and then 1 upon x into 12 upon 1. Now when I simplify, it will look like x upon 3 is equal to 12 upon x. Okay, this need not have any explanation. 1 get cancelled, or you can put it here same way here as well. Okay, and then what I can do, now I can send the x this side and 3 this side. Okay, so it will become what? X into x is equal to x square. This needs no explanation. I think x will come, when it comes this side, it will become multiplied. So it will become x square, which is equal to 3 into 12, which is equal to how much? 3 into 12 is 36. So if x square is 36, then how do I find out x? I will put the square root both these sides. Okay, this is how we will solve it. Once I get x square is equal to 36, I'll put the square root both the sides. So this will go, this will go. Square root of 36 is equal to how much? Is 6. So x value is 6 in this case. Okay, x value is 6 in this case. If you see this kind of question, this is where you will start learning the real tactics of solving the questions very fast. When you understand this once, this should go into your mind, this should go into your mind directly. And whenever you see the question, say for example, I'll give one or two more questions on directly on this basis. Okay, so say for example, I'll give you 1 by 4 is to 1 by x is equal to 1 by x into 1 by 16. Okay, in this case, so what I'll do, I'll directly multiply this. 4 into 16 is how much? 4 into 16 is 64. So 64 square root is how much? 8. Therefore, answer is x. X is equal to 8. Are you getting my point? You should be able to understand. Say for example, one more example we can take. We can take one more example. Okay. Same way, I'm going to take 1 upon 3 is to 1 upon x is equal to 1 upon x is to 1 upon 27. I am taking the numbers which can give me the direct squares. Okay, so what I'll do, 3 into 27 is 81, 81 square root is 9, so x value is 9, that's all. Are you getting my point? This is how you can solve this question within seconds. Once you understand, this should get into your mind. That is very, very important. Okay, that is very, very important, because if it doesn't get into your mind, then you will not be able to solve it. If you try to solve it like every time you go and do this whole thing, okay, then it will take you maybe 3 hours to solve the prelims examination itself. So you should be very, very fast. Keep it in the mind. Okay, all these are model questions. The same kind of questions with different numbers will come. Okay, so you need to remember them. You need to take notes of each type of question here. Okay, next, anyways, I'm going to give you a lot of questions, like 50, 60, 70 questions I'm going to give after we finish this whole lesson. Okay, then there is this one. Okay, this is okay, this you can ignore. A upon 3 is equal to B upon 5 is equal to C upon 7. Then what is the ratio of A is to B is to C? So we need to find out what A is to B is to C. What is given here? We need to find out what is equal to what. Given is what? A upon 3 is equal to B upon 5 is equal to C upon 7. Now I need to find out the ratios A is to B and B is to C. What I'll do is I'll take two values at a time and try to find out the ratios. Okay, only this part. Okay, how do I solve this? And thereafter I'll give you the shortcut method. Very, very fast. This takes less than 1 second. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll take only this part and I'll try to solve it. So what I'll do, B I'll take this side and 3 I'll send that side. Okay, A upon P is equal to 3 goes that side and it will become 3 is to 5. So from this I find out one value. What is the value? A is to B is equal to 3 is to 5. Okay, now I'll take this part B and C. Okay, A is to B I have already found out. Okay, and now we'll take B is to C. So next, from here we'll take it. So B upon 5 is equal to C upon 7, which implies that B, C will come this side and 5 will go that side. So it will become B upon C is equal to 5 upon 7. So I'll get the second one. What is this? B is to C is equal to 5 upon 7. So what is A is to B is to C? B is same here. No need to worry. We are going to understand combining of ratios, that is compounding of ratios, which is called, when we multiply two ratios, we call it as compounding of ratio, which we are going to learn later. But now see, because B is same, I can write it directly. A is to B is to C. How much is it? 3 is to 5 is to 7. Now it's not over. If you are learning properly for competitive examinations, you need to compare where I can find the shortcut for this. The shortcut is very, very simple. Yeah. Here you see A upon 3 becomes the ratio of A becomes 3. B upon 5, the ratio of B becomes 5. And C upon 7, so the ratio of C becomes 7. So the ratio, whenever they ask, if they ask you, say for example, another P upon 7 is equal to Q upon 6 is equal to R upon 19. What is the ratio of PQR? You need not have to do all of these things directly, because you already got the how to find out. Okay, the method how to find out. So the answer is 7 is to 6 is to 19. You just take the denominators and do it. You just take the denominators and get the answer. Okay, so we have done module 1 in this one, the basic questions. Next, we are going to learn very, very interesting questions. Okay, and do not skip anything, even not a single second. I am telling you, because this is the most important chapter of quantitative aptitude. So let us meet in the next video. Till then, please go through once again, or if you are perfect, okay, you have studied a lot, then you can go to the next